Here are 5 things that I love about the XH2s. So I've had this camera for about 3 months now, and these are 5 reasons why I love this camera. But these 5 reasons are not based on specs. They're more based on my shooting experience, because I think specs are something that you can do online for yourself. They are facts. So I'm going to tell you more about the experience I've had with the XH2s over the past 3 months. So the first thing I love about this camera is the ergonomics. Fujifilm have definitely outdone themselves in this regard. The first impression I got when I picked up this camera was how wonderful it was to have in my hands. And I thought I could easily work with this all day without tiring. I don't even use a strap. And so I've used this on shoots from pretty much 9 to 5. There's been pretty much no fatigue when running around using this thing. Definite thumbs up in my book, coming from the GH5, which also has a really lovely grip. This was a massive tick in my box. The second thing I love about this camera is the much improved IBIS. Like I just said, coming from the GH5 and that famous in-body stabilization, it really did have to be something special for me to kind of shift over to something like Fujifilm, because the X-T4, the IBIS, it just wasn't good enough for me to fully transition. Coming from the GH5, I really needed good in-body stabilization. And in the XH2s with its 5 axes, I really couldn't ask for more. So another huge plus in my book, definitely something that is made Fujifilm a big contender in the filmmaking videography department. The third thing that was invaluable to me, again, these are all things because I was coming from the GH5, were so important to me, was that this has an HDMI port. So when mounting a monitor on the X-T4 or X-T3 wasn't as feasible. So having an HDMI port on this thing was crucial, as well as a headphone jack. If we're talking about ports, there's no headphone jack on the X-T4, which really let down that camera. So it seemed futile to me changing to something like the X-T4 without those 2 major features. Having a headphone jack and an HDMI port has made the XH2s, in my book, so much better. The fourth thing I'd like to talk about is the battery life on this thing. The battery life, I've noticed, is considerably better. I only own 2 batteries for the XH2s, and for most day shoots, I have found that I have still just a little bit of juice left in the second one. Battery life is something you don't really want to be thinking about when you're creating. Eliminating the fact that you need to be thinking about juice in your battery is something that I have been looking for in a camera for a long time, and something particularly like in the X-T3 where I was constantly changing batteries. This was also a really big game changer in the XH2s. The fifth and maybe most important thing that I love about this camera is the unlimited recording time. I do not need the anxiety of worrying about the camera turning itself off when I'm doing an interview or I'm talking to the camera, such as I am now. Things like this and interviews, you don't know how long can take sometimes. For me to say a phrase has felt like hours sometimes, because I can't just rap out sometimes the things I want to say. I sometimes get too tongue-tied, so I don't need the anxiety of thinking I have to get up, stand up, record again, turn it off, you know, to go through all that procedure of making sure that I have enough time to play with. So the unlimited recording time is absolutely vital. Obviously there's battery and memory. I'm sure there is some sort of time limit. I think it might be 240 minutes. For what I want to do, this really is a huge feature, and it's so important for my filmmaking and this channel. Some other notable features on the XH2s. Obviously there's plenty of videos on this, but opening the gate and shooting in 6.2K is a huge feature and something that I use particularly a lot for social media, getting that height to be able to use the whole sensor and crop it for things like Reels or YouTube Shorts or TikTok have been immensely great when creating quality videos. Obviously there is better autofocus in the XH2s, however I'm sure it still doesn't quite compete with something like Sony. Having said that, when I'm filmmaking, I do tend to shoot manual focus as much as I can, because sometimes it's nicer just to have that little bit more control in your focus. 19 different film simulations. Now, Fujifilm are famous for all of their film simulations, and to have 19 in this camera is something that probably I won't use all 19 of them, but it is quite something. So some of my favorites are obviously something like Classic Chrome, Classic Neg, and the newest one I've been playing with is Nostalgia Neg, and I'll throw a few photos up here that you can see with that one. But the much loved film simulations are a big kudos in the Fujifilm system, so it is something that brings a lot of people over. I know that the X100V is a very popular camera at the moment, and it's because of the replication of film in a digital body. So one of the last things is to be able to shoot in 4K 120. Although I don't really shoot in that high frame rate as much as I probably would have used to, I still think this is a fantastic feature in the XH2s, and something probably that might be not talked about enough, but it is a great feature. And if I'm doing any corporate work or wedding material, then this is something that I would probably use. So a lovely feature to see in the XH2s. So to wrap this video up, I really do think that this camera is one of the best on the market for the price range, and the shooting experience alone is one that I have enjoyed so much over the past 3 months. I came from the GH5 looking for a camera that could fit both of my needs, photography and video. And I do think we're pretty close with something like the XH2s. And it's something that if you don't want to own a lot of gear and you just primarily want something that is going to do one or the other, I do think this comes pretty close. This is obviously my opinion. This is not going to be everyone else's. I hope some of the things that I love about this camera have helped you make a decision if you are going to buy it. Let me know in the comments what you really love about the XH2s. Obviously, the specs are important, but I think shooting experience for me just comes above that. Most cameras really do offer the same sort of quality now, so it does come down, I think, to the experience of the user. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's make some waves. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.